We spend a lot of time around here looking at dishonest theists, mostly because finding an honest one is nigh impossible most of the time. Now, they think they're being honest, but if you just pull back and examine what they're saying dispassionately, you see that they're anything but. So, let's do some more of that, shall we? I came across this short video of Sye Ten Bruggencate engaged in a quote-unquote debate of sorts. And I say it that way because, as you will see, it's really not a debate at all. It's just a string of unsupported assertions made without evidence, spewed at high speed to keep the opposition from being able to respond. You know, typical Gish Gallop stuff. And all of that is inherently dishonest. Some are just more blatant about it than others, but they're all this way. So here's my look at one of the all-time kings of theistic dishonesty and how I found that you can stop these people dead in their tracks, assuming you can get a word in edgewise.
And I have proof that God exists. And you know what the proof that God exists?
No, that bit.
The proof that God exists is that without him you can't prove anything.
And that's just a bald assertion. I can say the same thing about anything. The proof that invisible, intangible, universe-creating pixies is that without invisible, intangible, universe-creating pixies, we can't prove anything. Insert the flying spaghetti monster, or leprechauns, or Santa Claus, and it doesn't change the claim any. But I'm not interested in his claims, I'm interested in his proof. Prove that said claim is true. And to prove that said claim is true, you have to prove that God is real. Otherwise, it's just an empty assertion that means absolutely nothing.
Because the thing is, people say, give me proof that God exists. The proof that God exists is without him you can't know anything.
Again, that's just a statement of belief. It's not an argument from evidence. It doesn't matter what you feel. It doesn't matter what you wish was the case. It doesn't matter whether your confirmation bias is in full swing. It only matters if you can show that the claims that you're making are based on rationality and objectively demonstrable evidence, and in Bruggencate's case, they simply aren't. There is nothing at all rational about what he's saying. It makes sense only if you swallow the fundamentalist Christian screed hook, line, and sinker. And there's no rational reason to do that.
But people know things, but they reject it. And the thing is, the Bible says the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge.
I don't give a damn what the Bible says, any more than Sye cares what the Quran says, or the Vedas say, or what it says in the book of Dianetics. I don't value the Bible because the Bible hasn't been proven, with evidence, to be valuable. All he's doing is saying, I'm right because I believe I'm right. And if you disagree, he'll just go, well, I can't be wrong because I'm right. There is something severely wrong with his brain.
And when you reject God, you can't account for anything you claim to know. And I asked these people, could you be wrong about everything you claim to know? And they said, yes, I could. That's exactly what the Bible says.
Now, you'll notice how fast Sye talks, right? He does that so nobody else can get a word in edgewise. He's engaged in the Gish Gallop, throwing as many irrational and unfounded claims around as he can, and then keeping his opposition from having time to adequately demolish them. This is typical Apologetics 101. You'll see it all the time, no matter which apologist you look at. Lots of words in a short period of time so that nobody can get in and refute it all. And if nobody can refute it all, then some of it must have been right? It's why these people are so worthless to try to debate, because they aren't doing so honestly. They can't. If they tried, they'd just get trounced. So, they have to be dishonest.
You've just given up knowledge. I said, but you can't live that way. You're at a university where you come to know things. That fellow said, I come to get closer to the truth. And I say, what is truth without God? He had no answer. He's here to get close to the truth because he knows the truth. He's suppressing the truth and unrighteousness.
Yet another extremely common claim, that atheists all know that God is real. It says so in their silly book of mythology, after all. Granted, it's a completely nonsensical claim, but they don't care, because it fits their narrative, and anything that fits their narrative has to be true. This is how you know that the apologists are full of crap. They are engaged in purposely dishonest tactics, and they know it. We all know it. They are counting on talking to people who haven't studied what the apologists pull, and if you want to see one of them run, engage with one, and then point out that you understand what they're doing. They'll head for the hills. It makes them insanely uncomfortable.
I don't believe I'm going to go to hell. I don't know if I'm going to go to heaven, but, you know, like I said, I live in the world of I don't know.
And whether he likes it or not, there's no reason to think that either of them are real. The way to take care of these presuppositional twits is to keep telling them to prove it. Demand evidence and don't let up. The Bible, that's not evidence. It's a book of mythology. Your faith isn't evidence. It's delusion. Your claims are not evidence unless you can objectively and independently back them up. Go ahead. Put up or shut up. Don't let them gallop over you. Gallop right back. Go on the offensive. Show them that you know more than they do. They'll run away. They have to. They've got no choice.
You know that you live in that world. No. You don't know that you live in the world.
I don't know. Who knows? We could all be in the Matrix right now.
Is that true? You know that?
No. I don't know. I don't know anything.
You don't know anything at all?
I don't know a thing.
You know, I like this guy. I bet Sye is going to cut bait and run pretty quickly. He just can't deal with anyone who won't buy into his presuppositions. This is actually kind of funny. Good job.
You don't know. You know that you don't know a thing?
See, this is all just kind of, it's nonsense. It's nonsense.
And that's what happens when you reject God.
No. That's what happens when you've got your nose in a book of mythology all the time. He has nothing intelligent to say, and he's desperately floundering around trying to get back to his narrative. Now, if it was me, and I've done this with people like Matt Slick before, but I'd keep on the prove it line. I don't believe what you're saying. Prove it to me. Eventually, they have to give up because you won't take them at their word, and that's all they're working with. But let's see where this goes.
This is the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. And because I know you know things. I know that, you got dressed, you put on your pants one leg at a time, you're standing. I know that you know these things. But the thing is, you have to reduce yourself to an absurdity to reject the God that you know exists.
Well, which one is that? Because I can just as well claim that Sye knows that invisible, intangible, universe-creating pixies exist. He knows it. He can't not know it. So he's reduced himself to the absurdity of pushing an imaginary friend so he can deny that the things that he knows for absolute certain are true. How do you think that would go over with him? Actually, might be kind of funny to try and see what happens.
Okay.
See, and that's the option. And that's what I'm presenting today, the options. God or absurdity. And you know what you're saying? I choose absurdity.
I choose reality. Sye and all of his presuppositionalist fanatics choose absurdity. Because I don't care what he has to say. I care only what he can prove. And clearly, he can't prove a thing. That's the biggest problem with just about all theology. It's just emotionally comforting claims presented as truth, but when you insist that everyone take a few giant steps back and examine the claims rationally, they all fall apart. There's no truth there. There's no demonstrable truth there. This is what happens when you crawl up your own ass and refuse to come out. Instead of just admitting that you have no corroboratory evidence for your claims, they like to pretend that they do. They assert that they do. They can't ever present it, and you notice that Sye never even tried, but it has to be real because it makes them feel good and nothing will ever convince them otherwise. And that's the problem. These people are fanatics, and they're fundamentally dishonest fanatics on top of it. The lack of basic intellectual integrity to be able to examine their own beliefs objectively, that's a hallmark of religion. If anyone came up to them and said the exact same things that Sye Ten Bruggencate said in this video, but just substituted the flying spaghetti monster, they'd scream bloody murder. But because it's their own imaginary friend, it's all fine. Because they don't care. And that's just sad.